pick a market to be number one in, and then validate it quickly to see if the demand is there. So we're the only supplier, and if they're there, they have the most demand. That is so monstrous. Is you want to be number one in a market. And the easiest way to be number one in a market is to create a new market inside of an existing market that you can own. Because then you're number one by default, because you're the only one in the market. Now that's easier said than done, but it's this thing that I solve for more than anything. So I accidentally did this when I got started, guys. My first product I ever created was an ebook on how to write articles faster, because everybody was writing articles back then. This is 2007. So article marketing was a big strategy. It's like the equivalent of social media posting these days. Everybody was doing article marketing. They were trying to do it to make money. And I developed one single skill set of just writing faster articles, not better articles, not articles that made you more money per se. Just taking if you wrote 30 minutes, I could get you down to 15. So I carved out a market inside of a market that I was the only one that could occupy. Now, that is my supply. Is there a demand for it? And that's always the wild card. You don't know if there is or isn't. So I'm a huge fan of beta testing markets. So this is one of the strategic leverages that I use. I want to know if there's a demand or not as fast as humanly possible with the least amount of time, the least amount of money, the least amount of risk. So how do I test a market quickly to validate if there is demand or not? So pick a market to be number one in, and then validate it quickly to see if the demand is there. So we're the only supplier, and if they're there, they have the most demand. That is so monstrous, because then we can be number one. And by the time number two comes in, we are already ahead of them. We have more momentum than them. We have more leverage than them. And typically the bigger players, they won't go into those markets because they're too small for those guys. So, notice it was a $4 ebook, guys. It wasn't like I was saying like you have to come up with the most fanciest, most expensive, most craziest offer possible. The number one thing is just to be number one. So then once you're in there, what's really cool is on that first sell, I discovered a couple things I didn't know before. One of them was that on these really short products that I created, because it was only a 6-page ebook, people would buy the product, 20 minutes later, report back in and say, hey, I've already gotten my money's worth. And even today, that's rare, but back then that was like a unicorn. It didn't happen. So all these people were like, whoa, I bought a product and immediately got more than my money's worth. That is uncommon. That is rare. So that's now another strategic advantage I have. I can engineer fast results. And I've noticed the market values a small, fast result that happens like right away over a bigger result that may or may not happen in the future. So that's a little bit of insight. Okay, how do I put that into the next product? I've also now gotten trust. So I now have a market that will look to me for other solutions because their past experience was very positive with me. They were literally, guys, asking me, you got anything else? Can I buy something else from you? That's a pretty good advantage. So you have an inbuilt test audience that you can play with now. And then the other thing is I got proof. I can say, listen, when I teach stuff, people get good results. Why should you believe me? Well, look over there. Look at all those people that got a good result. So that was an additional leverage point that I had accomplished by launching something like that. So how do we test markets quickly, fastly, efficiently, try to find markets that other people have looked over or underserving? One of my favorite things, guys, to look for is where are people buying products that are not very good and they know they're not very good? Because that shows me buyer intent. They're having to settle. They're like, yeah, this thing sucks. Here's my money anyway because it's better than nothing. Those are my favorite markets to go into because we know they're buying and we know that they're willing to buy inferior products. So this is a green light for us to go in and really disrupt those markets.
Now, some people say that everything is saturated. There's nowhere to go at this point. It's 2025 and AI is taking over and I can't do anything. What do you say to them?
I say to them, it sounds like you got it all figured out. Peace. Yeah, I mean, there's more opportunity in 2025 than there has ever been at any point in history. That is just, it's obvious. And any metric that you measure it, that will ring true. Just in AI alone, let's say there's probably several hundred markets that have been created overnight. None of them have been claimed yet. I have never seen a proliferation of new markets emerge before my very eyes faster at any point in history than now. It's insane. So it's crazy for me. This is like somebody standing in front of a pile of gold saying there's no more money.